Welcome to Deep Thought, North Korea's real weapon. Hey, this is being recorded on Friday morning, November 3rd, 2017. And I'm specifically giving the date for a reason, because a news item came across my feed while I was on Facebook. I don't know if it was fake news or not, but then I've seen some other stuff. Actually, when I get stuff like that, I'll do Google searches on it. And reason why I'm letting you know the date and that I'm playing it on today, Tuesday, November 7th, 2017, just to prove a point. Now, the news was that North Korea, I would see two alternate things, because I ain't read it, right? But two alternate things, like they could knock out the electronics in the United States. They were going to explode some nuclear weapon above the United States and, knock out the electronics. And then another thing was about wiping out 90% of the population. You start these things taking life of their own. And, that EMP thing has been a big deal, right? But, you know what? I didn't even check it, but I remember I was having a conversation with someone knowledgeable about it. And they were like, well, a lot of stuff is EMP shielded anyway. Because they've known about, the EMP thing. They've known about that a while. And then something critical is going to be EMP shielded, right? And it's interesting they even said that, because back in 86 or 87, I think it was probably 87, there was a miniseries on ABC TV called America, and that instead of that C, it was spelled with a K. And the scenario was that the Soviet Union had taken over America through launching exploding two nuclear weapons over the United States and causing an EMP pulse, right? And it was that was deep to the point, because at the time I was taking a politics course at my college, St. Joseph's University, and I was taking it from a gentleman. His name was Dr. Anthony Joes, who I would say is an expert on he's an expert on revolution. And we were actually talking about that as part of the class, right? We were actually talking about it, right? And, that was the scenario, right? Now, that's a scenario they knew about then. Just on a practical level, I'm not really losing any sleep over any pronouncements from North Korea. I'm not. Nuclear or otherwise, despite what people are thinking. U.S. probably has some technology to knock out any nuclear weapons, but they're not going to tell you. They're not going to be on ABC News like, oh, yes, we got this thing here. They probably sitting around, two things. They sitting around probably thinking, oh, yeah, try it. You'll find out that, we really did recover a lot from that UFOs that keep crashing here. Something. And plus, you know what? Look up DARPA. Because understand, a lot of technology that's coming out now is already there, like the internet, the bases, the interfaces, like mouses and all of that. Everything was in place for the internet back in the 60s. Dude, yeah, I ain't worried about anything technology wise from any other country. I'm not, because like I said, they're not going to tell you. And like I said, look up DARPA, the Defense Applications Research. I forget, damn. I didn't know I was going to mention DARPA, but look it up. Just look up those letters, DARPA, right? They already got stuff. If they talking about it, they working on Iron Man type of stuff and everything. And, well, let's just say they got some powerful stuff to take out missiles and everything. Right? And, well, I can't say how exactly I know that. But, and for any government people listening, it's just speculation. But, y'all got it. Anyway, right? That's not really a weapon. Because, like I said, there's probably some defense thing, and two, there's probably about 15 nuclear subs surrounding like the peninsula. They probably got a whole like bunch of stuff pointed there now. And I wouldn't be surprised if stuff get to a point there's some type of first strike. Trust me. Trust me. I mean, you got you shoot. You talking about rail guns? There's please. That's a whole other level. But that's not North Korea's real thing. That's not their real threat. That's not their real weapon they're using. They're using the same weapon that ISIS is using. Because really, in a straight up war, the U.S. in a physical war, ISIS isn't beating the U.S. if they put some troops over there. And even though people say, well, they ain't really pacify Afghanistan and all of that, well, you know what? Part of having deep thought is understanding why. If we really want to do that, we need to see what economics are affected by the U.S. being in Afghanistan. What industries are being affected, what's happening. You know, they got a lot of opium over there. You know, those opium plants over in Afghanistan. Just saying. And what are we having a problem with now? And where are they getting these opioids from now anyway? Big pharma. Yeah. Oh yeah, y'all. This is gonna be what gets this channel snatched. But I just gotta go with it. Anyway, right? No, their real threat is fear. I'm gonna tell you what. Inducing fear is a smart weapon. It's an inexpensive weapon. It's a powerful weapon. See, you don't kill somebody like in a flash. In fact, that's an inefficient weapon, especially if you want somebody's territory or something. And then there's a weapon that causes war. It can cause harm to your own people. If you want to mess with somebody, a group, a nation, or anything, go after their subconscious. Oh, that keeps popping up, right? And induce fear in them. That's a smart weapon of fear. If you can kill a group of people if you get them to be fearful. If you fear, so everything North Korea is doing, they talking all that stuff. Their whole thing, they know they probably ain't gonna launch a missile any place. They probably, you know what, they still want to eat because they know what the U.S. got. But all they had to do is keep talking trash and keep saying, hey, we're gonna do this to you, we're gonna do that, and you know, learned it, people who really know these things, they probably like yawning. It was like, hey, oh yeah, North Korea launched not launched, but issued a threat against us. It's like, yeah, all right, well, who you got in the game this week? Yeah, and you know, or like, yeah, man, that new secretary, yeah, better watch yourself. Those harassment laws. Oh yeah, they probably be talking about everything else. Be sitting around chilling and stuff, playing on their phones and stuff. But the rank and file, everyday, you know, person out here, Joe Sixpack, you know, Rashid from around the way, you know, that single mom somewhere, you know, that womanizer in a, you know, coming out somebody's back door. Oh yeah, those are the ones that hit it. See, those weapons are targeted to the American people. Because of that fear will gradually destroy someone. Now let me break down how fear works and how it's a smart weapon. You know, it's a slow poison. First of all, your physical health. Fear weakens your immune system. It can cause cardiovascular damage. Problems such as ulcers and irritable bowels. It can also decrease fertility. Boom. Not only you kill that person slowly, you also prevent them from having children. You know, it could accelerate your aging. I mean, it's like boom. I was like, man, that's a perfect weapon, and you can't trace it back to them. All they had to do is wait you out. And like I always say on here, one branch leads to another. Part of the conflict out here between groups is a fertility thing. You know, that's really the alt-rights thing. You know, they ain't having no damn babies. They probably be some happy campers, they just got laid. And, you know, popped out a couple babies. Then all of a sudden, that changes your perspective. But because they're not having that, boom. But oh man, I got so many podcasts coming out of I could just talk about whatever, get about 15 podcasts out of it. Anyway, right? So that's just a physical thing, right? Your memory. There was a spiritual master in the black community, Rod Nefer Men, right? He said, fear can lower your IQ by 21 points. 21 points. Think about it. For those who follow that, especially, that's significant. 21 points. Shoot. Think about it. Now, they say the level for mental retardation is like 85, right? If you have somebody who's like IQ is 105, which is pretty average, 21 points, where they operating at? Because think about it. It can impair the formation of long-term memories. It can cause damage to certain parts of the brain, such as the hippocampus. It can make it more difficult for a person to regulate fear and leave a person anxious most of the time. In my notes, someone in chronic fear, the world looks scary, and their memories confirm that. You ever see just people who walk around in constant fear? You can see it in their eyes, in their body language, everything. It's doing a number on their memory, and it's already doing a number on their immune system. In fact, I'm gonna hit y'all with something deep on. This is gonna be some controversial thing. I'm gonna get plenty of comments on this. I know some people on some deep metaphysics who will tell you they don't wear condoms, but they're not worried about AIDS or anything, because they say they don't have any fear about it, so their immune system is stronger. Now, I can't verify it. I don't know if anybody's done a study to verify it. And in all honesty, in Western culture, it takes them it takes them about 20 years to catch up to something that a metaphysician knows now. Right? So that is what it is. But think about it. Their physical health is already being compromised in their brain. And then, you take it further past memory, just your brain processing and reactivity. Fear can interrupt processes in our brains that allow us to regulate emotions, read nonverbal cues, and other information presented to us. This impacts thinking and decision making in negative ways, leaving us susceptible to intense emotions and impulsive reactions. And yeah, y'all, I gotta write down shit for this one. Anyway, right? One of the biggest things is choice. Think about it. You basically impaired. That is, what? If you shot with a bullet or you caught in some type of explosion, even if you had to amputate something, everything's still working. If your attitude is still right, hey, you can get a prosthetic, and they got bionic prosthetics now. You can work around it. A bullet, they can take it out. You can rehab. You can come back as long as you're strong mentally. But because of that weapon of fear, no matter what you do, you destroying your body within. That's a subconscious bomb, right? You plant that thought, plant that fear in some subconscious, and remember, the subconscious is 95% of who you are. So that thing is spreading. You plant that fear, it's spreading. And you see it, just in coaching and just living life. I've seen plenty of people who govern by fear. It's powerful. It's breaking up relationships. It's keeps people from working. And I'm gonna share something personal. My mother's in a nursing home now, but there was a long time she wouldn't leave the house. She had agoraphobia. And it was bad to the point. I remember when my grandmother had a stroke, her agoraphobia was so bad that she refused to go to the hospital, because I had a feeling like despite her agoraphobia, if my mother was willing to make the move to the hospital, that would have helped my grandmother, because my grandmother would have saw that, and that would have moved her. I knew it. I just knew it intuitively, right? But my mother's agoraphobia was that bad. And that's nothing but fear. That's nothing but fear. I mean, you got people who are shut in like that, or they can't do anything. Fear, I'm going to tell you what. Fear is moving a lot of the patriot movement. They talking because if you look at a lot of their thing, they say it's about the government taking their guns away, right? But what is it about their guns? They need their guns to protect them against who? But that's based on fear. And that's based on fear. So that's like, fear can create political movements and stuff. It can kill you. It's probably fear is probably worse than drugs. A bullet in you. It's probably worse because you can remove the bullet. You can get off of drugs. But once that fear is in there, and especially most people are not doing any work to affect their subconscious, that thing just sits and grows and festers. So North Korea, you know what? Their biggest weapon is a press release. Their biggest weapon, the delivery. Well, the biggest weapon is fear, but then the delivery of that weapon is a press release, or the delivery of that fear is the 6:00 news. All they had to do was say something. They can just launch. The thing is, they can just launch the missile. They may not have anything in it. They don't have any. They might not have anything in it. They could have some like watermelon seeds in it or something. They say, yeah, let them just think it. It's like boom. They might even have somebody that's like, hey, what they saying? They're monitoring our news. And it's like, okay, yeah, we got to make it more fearful. Think about it. It's a psychological game, right? So that's their real threat. And for anybody North Koreans who are like, damn, Rom's on to us. Hey, y'all don't want to mess with me, though. Shit. I'll bring some Hancock shit for y'all. Anyway, right? No, but all seriousness, though, that's the weapon. That's the weapon. That's the weapon North Korea is using. That's really the weapon that ISIS is using. That's what terrorists are doing. Look at 9/11. That's what their weapon was. Right? Now, it gets into another question of who actually brought the towers down, but it's still fear. You can manipulate people through fear. You can get them to follow your program. It's a powerful force. And that's the real threat here. And like I said, I'm making this on Friday, November 3rd. And I'm purposely not playing it until this morning, Tuesday, November 7th, just to show you. It's nothing but fear. All right? Nothing. That's the only weapon. That's why a lot of times I see stuff and I'm just like yawning and, seeing which women's text I'm going to return. Honestly. So anyway, I want y'all to think about that, okay? In the meantime, keep rising and transforming.